Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Payam and in this video, I'm going to show you 7 behaviors that make you look socially awkward, as well as provide some tips at the end about how to not look socially awkward when you're interacting with other people, okay? Let's go into behavior number 1, eye contact. Now, you can either give too much eye contact or you can maybe not give enough eye contact. How do you find that balance? You want to pass it through what I call the 3-second rule. All right. So, for example, if I'm talking to you, I'm going to look at you for 3 seconds. Yeah. So then I went to the market the other day, bought a loaf of bread. Howdy, howdy, ha. I look away, then I come back. I made a cup of coffee, got some food ready for dinner. And then after that, I look away again. Then I come back to you. So, what I'm saying is a good framework that you can follow is look at the person for 3 seconds, break eye contact, then come back. If you use this framework, then you're not going to be overthinking all the time. Like, am I looking at them too much? Am I not looking at them at all? Maybe that's coming across as insecure, or maybe that I'm unsure of myself. Follow this framework, and what you'll find is you will put other people at ease because you're not staring at them like a deer or a raccoon or any other animal that does that. You're looking at them, you're giving them your attention, but you're also breaking eye contact from time to time so that they can digest the conversation with you. Does that make sense? At the end of the day, this is about preventing discomfort for the other person when you are communicating with them. If you just stare at them, that's what creates the discomfort. If you don't look at them at all and you're just looking over here, then they're gonna be like, "Why am I even talking to this guy? He's not even looking at me." You see how did you just see how weird that was? So use the 3 second rule. Okay, now let's go into behavior number 2, lack of empathy. So when it comes to being more empathetic, you want to use something called the echo technique. That pretty much means that you want to repeat back to somebody what they told you, and that pretty much acknowledges that you understand them, that you are putting yourself in their shoes. You are becoming more empathetic. Using this technique is going to cover 80% of the heavy lifting for you. So, for example, I tell you, yesterday I came home and I was really stressed about work. You would then say, "Oh, so you came home and you were really stressed?" When you do this consistently, I will feel like you understand me because you're just repeating back what I told you. And that it does most of the work for you because then you don't have to think of clever things to say. You won't be overthinking, you won't be in your own head. You're just mimicking what I told you. And then when you do that as a base, you can start adding in, maybe your advice. You could say something like, "Would you mind if I give you my perspective? Or can I give you a couple tips that I think may help?" But as a base, just repeat back what somebody told you, then they're going to feel like, "Oh, this person understands me." Having empathy is key to all relationships, social skills, dating as well, networking, what have you, everything. So if you want to find a significant other, a partner, you have to be empathetic. You have to be able to understand how somebody else feels. There's a lot of advanced techniques out there. What I'm trying to give you is the one that does the most work for you, that gives you the biggest ROI, I should say. And that is just echoing what somebody told you. Okay? That is behavior number 2. Okay, behavior number 3 is having no filter. Look, you want to be who you are, right? I don't ever want you to change who you are. You will never find me in any of my content telling you to be somebody you're not. I'm very big on that principle and that value. But that doesn't mean you should just tell everybody the same thing all the time. The circumstances matter. So what you can do is pass it through the water cooler test, okay? And how this works is you pretty much pause when you want to share something that's a little bit mm, you're hesitating because you're like, "Oh, okay, maybe this is crossing the line." Pass it through the water cooler test. You ask yourself, "All right, well, if I'm at work around the water cooler in the kitchen with my coworkers, would I tell them this?" This is going to just create that moment of pause where then you can assess, "All right, maybe this is a little too much right now." What I'm saying at the end of the day is what you tell your partner or your friends, that doesn't mean that's something you want to tell your boss or your coworkers. Those are different worlds, those are different circumstances. So using the water cooler test will just give you that moment to pause so that you know, okay, well, maybe now is not the moment to share all these details. And by the way, I know maybe you're trying to improve your social skills, But believe it or not, you don't always have to give your 2 cents. I'm a very vocal guy. I wasn't always this way. I became this way. But even now and then, if there's a subject that I don't know about, or if I'm just feeling a little bit more introverted, or maybe I just want to chill and hear other people out, I won't even share my opinion because I also recognize that there's a lot of things that I don't know. And if I'm quiet during the conversation, I can just assess and understand other perspectives. So just know that you don't always have to share your opinion. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. All right. Behavior number 4 is invading someone's personal space. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you should stand super far away from them, but you also don't want to be closer than, let's say, 12 inches to them. Of course, the circumstances matter if it's your partner and what have you, but generally speaking, the rule of thumb, if you look this up on the internet or you just do your research, you'll see that there's a range from like 12 to 18 inches. To be on the safe side, just keep it to around 2 feet, and you'll find that in most circumstances, you are doing your part in maintaining a healthy distance. So what I'm saying is you don't want to be too close, but you also don't want to be too far. The 2 feet rule is going to cover most scenarios, but understand that there's different cultural norms. There's different unwritten rules, I should say, depending on the country that you're in. So if you're watching this, I'm speaking right now on behalf of the United States. In other areas of the world, maybe these rules are different. So keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, if the other person is not making a move to come close to you, proximity wise, then just keep your distance. Now, if you're talking and they maybe take a couple inches towards you, they step towards you, or something along those lines, then by all means, you can reciprocate. And then maybe that's sort of your signal like, okay, this person is comfortable. But for the most part, keep that 2 feet distance and you'll find that that covers most scenarios. And that's not going to make you look awkward because you're respecting the other person's space. See, when you're standing too close to someone, you are invading their space, their bubble. But if you're standing too far, they may not be able to hear you. So the 2 feet rule is a good standard by which you can follow. Okay? By the way, if you're finding these tips helpful so far, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, let's go to behavior number 5. Okay, this next behavior is inability to read social cues. Now, I want to give you 2 signals you should be mindful of. When you are in a conversation with someone, they will typically do one of these 2 things that mean that they need to go. Because you don't want to ever overstay your welcome and jeopardize your self-respect by not recognizing these social cues. That's really big for me, and I hope you also value that. So they will either start drifting their body away. So if you and I are talking and I start kind of like going back like this, or I start drifting to the side, more than likely I got somewhere I gotta be. And I'm just hoping that you will recognize this signal, okay? Another one is somebody that does this. Yeah, so how's your day going? Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, so then, yeah. If they check their watch, that also means that more than likely they got somewhere they gotta be. Of course, none of these are guaranteed 100% bulletproof, but you want to just make sure that you're able to recognize when people don't have the time or desire to talk to you in that moment. That doesn't mean they don't like you. That doesn't mean they're bored of you. Maybe you just caught them at a bad moment, at a bad chapter, at a bad time. See, something that's super important when it comes to social dynamics is understanding that just because you are primed and ready to have a great conversation, the other person may not be. And you need to know that. You cannot take everything personal. That's not going to help you improve. You have to give people the benefit of the doubt that maybe something just happened 5 minutes ago prior to you talking to them. That will help you be more forgiving to yourself. That will help you improve because you're not taking things to heart. Okay? So these are the social cues you want to be mindful of. Again, you don't need to overthink this and overanalyze, but just have them in your back pocket when you're socializing. And if you notice these, just know like, all right, maybe it's time for me to exit the conversation. Let me give you another example. Let's say you approach a girl at Whole Foods or Target or something like that, and you start talking to her and she's giving you one word replies, or she's not really looking at you and she's looking away. These are other types of social cues you need to be mindful of that now's not the time. She is not interested. She's maybe interested, but maybe you just caught her at a bad time. Either way, she doesn't want to communicate right now. Okay? That is the behavior. Okay, behavior number 6 is body language. Again, this is another big subject. For the most part, though, here's what I would suggest. You don't want to be a statue when you talk to somebody. That's weird. And you also don't want to be super fidgety. That's weird. Just be somewhere in the middle. So if you and I are talking, there's nothing wrong with maybe if I just kind of touch my shoulder, maybe I put my hand in my pocket, I'm like, hey, something, or maybe I look away, or maybe I look down. These are all normal. But if I just stand and I just look at you like this, and I'm just talking to you like this, that's weird. Or if I'm just like, or what, however you shake, if you do shake, that's also going to be perceived as weird because it comes across as you being nervous. Maybe it could even come across as you being on drugs, right? I'm not saying that you may not be dealing with a serious problem. I hope you understand that's not what I'm implying. But the other person that you're talking to may not know you very well. Maybe they've had prior experiences dating somebody that used to be a drug addict and you are mimicking some of their body language. So, again, going back to what I said earlier, don't take this stuff personal. Just be aware that everybody's going to interpret these signals differently. For the most part, though, don't be a statue. And also, just do your best not to be super fidgety and understand how that may come across. Okay? That is the behavior number 6, body language. Okay, finally, behavior number 7 is self-disclosure. All right, so let's separate this into 2 parts. One is revealing too much about yourself, and the other one is not revealing enough about yourself. Let's tackle the latter. Revealing not enough about yourself, no one's going to be able to connect with you if you don't share details about your life. So, in order to create depth and find a genuine connection, you have to share your interests, your hobbies, the books you're reading, what you like to do in your free time. Not everything is going to be small talk related, right? On the other hand, you also don't want to share too much about yourself too fast. And that is the key. I'm all for sharing about yourself. You just don't want to jump right into it and share all of your secrets, your life secrets, okay? You want to fade into it. You also want to use something that I coined the mirroring rule, okay? Which basically means you want to share as much as the other person is sharing. That's a good kind of framework that you can use. Now, in order for the conversation to progress and in order for you guys to have a deep conversation, one of you needs to take sort of a little bit of a risk in sharing more information. And I understand that. And by all means, you can do that. But if it's not reciprocated, then pull back. You can use something called the traffic light rule framework. Okay, so traffic lights are green, yellow, red. So if you and I meet and I've never met you before, I'm in the green zone, right? I'm sharing high level stuff about my life. I like to do this for fun. On the weekend, I like to hang out with friends, this and this. As the conversation progresses, then I'll go into the yellow. Yeah, the other day at work, one of my coworkers, they were being annoying, and then I came home and I was a little bit tired, but it's all good. Things happen, right? I'm sharing just a little nugget about my life. If you start reciprocating that, then maybe I'll go into the red. I'm like, lately I feel like I'm not managing my stress well. I need to meditate more often. Do you use any meditation apps? Or see, now I'm sharing something pretty, it's not a secret necessarily, and it's not super sensitive. A lot of people are stressing, but I'm sharing something personal about my life. That is the red zone, right? So I'm gradually progressing through green, yellow, red, but I'm also watching to see if you are reciprocating. If you are reciprocating, then that tells me that you're comfortable with the conversation and I feel comfortable sharing details about my life because I know you're also going to share details about your life. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Those, my friends, are the 7 behaviors. Now, I want to give you a few tips to just improve your social skills because these are the 7 behaviors that make you look socially awkward. I want to give you 3 tips on how to improve in this area, okay? Number 1, practice active listening. Genuinely, when you're talking to somebody, listen to them. Try not to think about what you're going to say next until you have fully absorbed what they've told you. Not only is this going to help you be more empathetic, the other person will recognize it. Believe me, they will recognize it. And put your phone away too. If you put your phone away, then you won't be tempted by Instagram and social media and other distractions that we all deal with. So practice active listening. Number two is gradual exposure. I like to do something called the 1 minute rule in my life. So if I'm in a social situation, and believe me, I'm highly social now. Again, I was not always like this. I was super shy before, very insecure. But now if I'm in a social dynamic and I'm kind of ready to go, but I want to test myself or challenge myself, which I do a lot, I'll stay 1 minute longer. And the 1 minute is just enough for me to feel good about myself that I actually challenged myself to improve and kind of feel out the scenario. But it also helps me build momentum. So it's a good length of time that you can use for yourself in social situations to test where you are and how you can improve by just staying 1 minute longer, 1 minute longer. Then you go to 1 minute 15, then you go to 1 minute 30, and eventually through gradual exposure, you will become more comfortable in social situations that maybe you're not comfortable in. Finally, number three is to cultivate self compassion. Listen, you are human. I am human. We're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. Life is going to throw us some curveballs. Don't be too hard on yourself. You are fantastic at something. You are highly intelligent at something. This is just an area that maybe you want to work on, but don't get down on yourself. I see this happen all the time, and it's unfortunate because socially awkward people are some of the most intelligent people I know. This is just an area that they want to improve upon, and you can do it. This is a skill that you can learn. Okay? If you like this style of advice and you found this video helpful, I do have a free guide for you in the description that will help you turn your social awkwardness into a superpower. As well as if you want to learn how to take your conversations from small talk to big talk, check out this video. You will really like it. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Bye bye.